Statistically, more than 1 in 3 kids report persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness. That's 1 in 3. In the last year, 1 in 6 kids made a suicide plan. And 1 in 4 say they don't have a trusted adult in their life. So there's a lot to talk about here, and the perfect people to do so. From J&B Medical, Carl Rashid, Dr. Attorney Carl. From AmeriHealth here in Louisiana, Dr. Loretta Dumontet. Also, and I look forward to Jennifer telling us a little bit more about the people I introduced, an internationally recognized expert on preventing and reducing youth risks with more than 25 years as a nurse practitioner. This, again, a topic that I'm so anxious to hear about. Dr. Jennifer Salerno, come on up. And drum roll for this young man, 12 years in the National Football League with the Colts and also with the St. Louis Rams, Pro Football Hall of Fame running back Marshall Faulk. And before I have you sit down, I just want to, it's been interesting for me to see you grow. I don't care about the football part now. It's so much more than that. We've talked in the last couple of years about, obviously family, kids, finances, and how involved you are in other business entities. I did not know that this is something that you've been speaking up about, is youth mental health. Why?
Growing up as a kid and understanding the challenges that we had, and then today, the challenges that the kids of today, what they have. I grew up, I did not know outside of my community what was out there. So mentally, what I knew, what was around me, and it helped me in a sense to develop and get better. Well, today, and I don't want to knock social media, social media can make you think that you're living a pretty awful life based on what you see. And these kids don't understand that a lot of the stuff on social media is not true. So therefore, they're comparing their lives, as you heard. People are making plans, younger people, to take their lives, and they just don't understand how important life is. And going around talking about it, letting them know the challenges that are out there for them, and the things that they're doing sometimes can be destructive to their lives, partaking in drugs and stuff like that, and just living an unhappy life as a kid. I always tell my kids, I'm like, you have no idea what responsibility is. You don't have a kid yet.
Exactly. Okay, you just kicked off the segment beautifully. Thank you. Marshall Faulk. Jennifer, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Be here. Good afternoon, everyone. We're really excited to be here. This will be more of a conversation than anything else. I'm going to kind of kick it off. I'm Dr. Jennifer Salerno, licensed nurse practitioner and translational researcher in the area of youth risk and prevention. So that's really my passion. I have a company called Possibilities for Change, which is a spin out of my work at the University of Michigan. Really focused in on innovative technology training for professionals working with youth as well as parents to really build up those support systems, and consulting work. And part of the work that I'm doing is with Carl and J&B Medical in building an innovative technology with multidisciplinary clinicians as well as high-tech software engineers to build something that's first in nation. So what we've done is taken research and translated that into practice. And a lot of times that is a huge disconnect. We do a lot of research, we find out a lot of really good things, but then how do we get that to the people that really need it? So what we did was worked with a trauma expert to take trauma-informed practices as well as health equity framework and put that into a technology that's responsive to both. And that technology provides screening and interventions to youth. So if you think about when you're at your healthcare provider's office or maybe in schools or online, if you've taken screenings, they ask you about your mental health, substance use, those kind of things. You maybe disclose some things, maybe you don't, depending on how you feel and how that was presented to you. And then it kind of just either on paper goes somewhere or with technology kind of goes into the air and you're like, okay, what happens now? So what we've done with this technology is really use those principles to engage youth with images, with audio. They see one question at a time to help them really focus in on what they're being asked. They're more honest, they feel supported, At the end, they see what we call brief interventions. So when you complete a screening based on how you answered questions, you'll be given information like, hey, it can be really hard to feel stressed out and anxious. 1 in 3 youth feel like that every single day. You're not alone. So it kind of starts with that, gives them some ideas to reduce their risk if you're in kind of the healthcare field. Little things like box breathing, if everyone takes a deep breath for the count of 4, holds it in, breathes out for the count of 4. If you're feeling anxious, that can really help. So giving some of those ideas, and then resources that are very specific to youth, like chat lines, hotline numbers, things that youth can interact with using technology to really make an impact on how they're feeling, identifying those youth and giving them resources immediately. And then it also provides those resources to parents and families. Because if you think about being a parent, and I have 2 young adults, it can feel really scary if your child comes to you and says, I'm feeling really sad, I'm being bullied, and parents are taken off guard. That's what I hear from parents all the time. Like, I don't know what to say. I want to be there for them. I want to say the right thing. So we do a lot of support with parents in giving them that information and also in some very simple trainings and strategies. So I'll let Carl kind of talk about.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you to the NFL Alumni Health, and Sage, thank you for the promotion to doctor. I appreciate that. I'm Carl Rashid, Corporate Affairs and Business Development at J&B Medical. A lot of what I heard in the prior conversation is very relevant to our conversation here today. The words that I were hearing all kind of can be framed up and summarized into health equity and doing a lot more in underserved communities to better serve those populations that right now may not have a good start, right? Our family-owned company is very mission-driven. We're very driven to give not only all kids a healthy start, but everyone in our ecosystem of healthcare an equal, healthy start with equal access to care. And so what we're embarking upon here today is really kind of a journey of youth mental health awareness. And so just to back up a little bit about how we got here and how we partnered up with Jennifer. So during COVID, we know and understand that kids were met with a lot of different challenges, barriers that we had never seen before. Kids were not able to communicate with other children. Kids were not in school. Kids were not they were not part of athletics. They were not part of anything. And depending on where you lived, it was all different, right? So it impacted kids differently. And I would tell people that it impacted kids in underserved communities more so than it did today. A lot of kids go to school just to eat food. A lot of kids go to school just to be able to participate in sporting events that their parents can't pay for. Is that fair? Absolutely not. But what we do know is that kids of privilege, kids that are underserved and underprivileged are experiencing a lot of different issues today. What we're setting out to do is make sure that kids understand that it's okay to have some type of condition. It's okay that you're feeling a certain way. And what we've done is design this technology to not only let kids know it's okay, because maybe 1 out of every 3 children your age are also experiencing depression, maybe also experiencing anxiety, but we're gonna help you do something about it. We know that kids spend a significant amount of time, I've got a 12-year-old daughter, spends a significant amount of time on social media like Marshall alluded to. We know that there's stigmas attached to having mental health conditions. We're gonna break down those walls. And so what we're doing and what we're embarking on, and thanks to a partner in AmeriHealth Caritas here in Louisiana, is we're going to screen schools in underserved communities, kids that are not privileged, and see what is going on. And then we're going to apply the resources through our technology-enabled solution to help kids out. And so we're very thankful for the opportunity to partner with AmeriHealth, and we're really excited to see this work blossom. And we've done a lot of this work already in the state of Colorado, and the outcomes are awesome. But like someone said in the previous approach, it's like kind of a locker room approach. We don't need just us, and we need everyone. Quite frankly, we need everyone in this room. We need everyone on social media. We're going to team up with Marshall Faulk as someone who can be a proponent of that, utilize his goodwill, his social media, everything that he's done in his career, and let people know and let children know it's okay. And come forward. And if you come forward, we're going to help you out because, again, we want to give all kids a healthy start. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Doctor.
Well, thank you. And again, I am Dr. Loretta Dumontet, and I am very proud to be here today to represent AmeriHealth Caritas, Louisiana, as we begin this partnership with J&B Medical and Possibilities for Change. And so ACLA, they hired me because I trained as a child psychiatrist and as a pediatrician. And I spent a large part of my career working in the criminal justice system. And one thing that I learned when I was working in, especially when I worked in the juvenile detention center, is that oftentimes the kids that need the most love and attention, not only will they not ask, but we often only become aware of their needs through their actions and behavior, the worst of which is when they hurt themselves or can hurt other people. And then I was going to transition. I have a quote. Okay. So beneath every behavior is a feeling, and beneath every feeling is a need. And if we can address that need, then we can begin to deal with the cause and not the symptom. And so that's the goal here with this partnership. ACLA, we're very committed to a holistic healthcare model where we can meet all the needs of a kid, psychological, social, emotional, and their physical health needs. And with the mental health screening in schools, the hope is that we can intervene early, we can help the whole child, and we can start to intervene and address before we see any behaviors or any bad outcomes. And so with this partnership, we hope that we change the outcome. We can help kids meet the challenging tasks of development so that they can be kids. They can be that friend, that sibling, that child, that student, the best that they can be. So I'm very excited to be part of this venture. Thank you.
Thank you. We are actually working across 32 states right now in the screening piece. So that might be in healthcare settings, at university levels, schools, school-based health centers. And what we're trying to do is create this movement like Carl was mentioning. And part of that is raising the awareness, raising the voice. Mm-hmm. And Marshall is our voice here in Louisiana. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit.
Yeah, so why be the voice? And when sitting up here, and obviously, you know my bio and you read what you read, it does not say that I did not have challenges. For me to be an advocate here, it hits home in two spaces, and I want to share with you guys. You see the young athlete that makes it, and you think that, boy, he's on top of the world. You go from having lint in your pocket to having millions of dollars, and you feel like you have everything, and that's really when you find out that life starts to really life around you, and things around you are not what it is. And growing up, coming from nothing, not having access to the best health care, you don't understand where to get help. I was one of the lucky ones to where I shared with the coach who was coaching me at the time, the things that I was feeling, what I was going through. And he coached me more than just on the football field. He started coaching me in life. He suggested, hey, you should speak with a therapist. And at the age of 21, while I was a millionaire, not happy with who I was becoming, I sought out and got help. And when I started to realize in those times as I was going through my therapy, it was stemming back from things as a kid. Things that as a kid, that when you grow up in a poverty-stricken community, These are things that you just tough through. When you look back at it, when I started to look back at it, back then, if someone gave in to whatever it was you were going through, the pressures of life then became your downfall. And getting through those things and fighting through them, I just had enough strength, maybe enough support, and maybe I just got lucky that I was one of the guys who made it out of that community because of football, and I found my way. But I didn't escape it because it found me later in life. And then as I moved on and I became a parent, my middle daughter, I remember her having a conversation, not wanting to go to school, sharing with us that not feeling happy when her and her siblings were out, not playing with them the way the rest of them were playing together. To me, when the doctor said, and I tell you no lie, when the doctor said, oh, this is clear anxiety, I literally, not being in tune enough to know, I was like, what does she have to have anxiety about? Like, she has the best life in the world. Understanding that just because you have the best life or you don't have the proper things in life, these unhealthy habits, these things can find you. And kids are right now, they are being attacked. They're being shown so much. They're being told that they're great for nothing, and they're being told that they're not worth anything when they are worth way more. And so we have to find ways to advocate for them, to stand up, to provide them the resources so that they can get the answers when they're looking for them, when they don't know where they're at, and support them so they can live the healthy lives. Because it's cliche, but remember, kids are our future. Some kids will be making decisions to decide what our old butts do. So we better make sure we provide them the proper resources and know that they're making these decisions with not just a clear head, but the clearest head that they can have.
Mm-hmm. So the project that we're really working on right now and asking for everyone to join the movement on is school-wide screening. So we're working on large levels with states, with big organizations within a state, and then all the way down to the parents, the educators, the community partnerships that need to happen. Because let me take you through a little bit of what school-wide screening looks like. So school-wide screening, the schools will implement screening across the student population. So it's very different than if someone comes to you, if they have a great relationship with their parent, a youth may come to that person. A lot of youth don't have an adult to come to. 1 in 10 actually say that they don't have anyone that they can come to. And then some students will come to counselors or coaches or others in school, but there's a huge group that don't come to anyone. Mm-hmm. So this project is really meant to identify those students that are flying under the radar, and everyone, of course, but the ones that really haven't come out yet to say what's going on. So schools opt in, it's all about control. Schools opt in to participate, parents can opt their student out. So we're not forcing anyone to do anything. It's really about coming alongside and providing that resource for schools. Kids will be screened in their classrooms, and then a school support people will follow up with those students that identify as highest risk. And there's different thresholds depending on the screening. So the schools may be screening for depression, anxiety, suicide, trauma, substance use. It's very open to what they want to know more about in their population. At that point, they've partnered, and we've helped them find partners in their community, like Dr. Dumontet was saying here, related to who can manage then that student, who can help those families to find the support that they need, ongoing counseling potentially or other services. So we've connected that piece. And then we rely heavily on our athletes to really raise the voice, to say it's okay to screen, it's okay to say that I'm feeling depressed or I'm feeling anxious. For the schools, like, this is an important piece to be a part of. So that voice is a really significant component of all of the players that we have in the movement going forward. So it's a really important piece.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're just providing a safe space of community, not just for athletes, but for kids in general. To just say when you're not okay, it's okay to say you're not okay, and let someone know. You don't always, as Rolfden was talking about, you don't always have to tough it out. Back in the day, availability was everything. So you played through all the injuries and making sure you were there. Where, well, in life you don't have to play hurt. You want to be whole so you can make the best decisions and the best choices.
Absolutely. And then we're also looking at, what are our outcomes? So we're talking with schools. What did you learn here? What can we do better? What are some student stories that you can share with us? And we've been working across school-wide screening since 2016, 2016. But more recently in this larger project. And what we hear time and time again are even school counselors that are meeting with students that they know are struggling. And then on the school-wide screening, they say that they're suicidal or they have a plan. That student comes into the counselor and she's like, hey, we've been meeting, I didn't know about this. I didn't know you were struggling to this level. What happened? Why didn't you share that? And the student told her, you never asked me the question. So sometimes, youth are very concrete thinkers, and we think that we're asking the question. We're kind of roundabout asking. Sometimes we're nervous to ask as a professional and even as a parent, but really asking the question is one of the most important pieces. And we have some outcomes of our program as well that I'll share. It doesn't look like our slides were working today. So what we see across the board is that 1 in 3 youth report that they have a high level of depression or anxiety. And then they go through, they get screened, the parents are informed, they get services, whatever that might look like, looks different in different communities. We've seen a 42% decrease in anxiety symptoms and a 40% decrease in depression symptoms. So that's significant. And if you look at the research, even asking the question and allowing them to be like, oh, I finally shared that secret, helps them on their journey of getting better. The other component that I didn't really share much about is we do have a large parent piece where we're supporting parents, we're helping them in communication with their teen, because the number one protective factor, if we take something else away today, is having that support at home. So any student, youth that has that parent support, they're 3 times less likely to feel depressed, feel anxious, to the level that they may harm themselves. So it really is a huge protective factor, and we're trying to build that piece up as well. So at that point, when they go through kind of a microlearning and some other things that we have, 78% of parents reported feeling more confident and more comfortable in talking with their teens when they come to them or bringing up a conversation. And just over half felt more connected with their youth, just having some very simple communication strategies. And that parent piece is super important as well.
Yeah, and just the other important piece is your relationship with the communities, which ACLA is going to help with, so that kids and families can get connected to those resources to help with what they need.
Mm-hmm. Not having the resources is a huge barrier. So that's why this type of partnership and movement is so important.
Just one more point. Marshall, thank you very much for sharing your story. That's really the goal of this whole awareness campaign, is to get people to share and say, like you said, it's okay, right? And to break down those barriers. And to your point, you were 21 years old. So while we're talking about youth here today, our technology does enable people of all ages to be screened for mental health conditions. And we know that, especially post-COVID, a lot of people have alcohol, drug dependencies, and what have you, and may not be seeking any type of treatment. But again, we're going to start with, it's almost like a ground up approach. We're going to start with kids, give all kids a healthy start, but then work our way through adults as well. And so thank you for sharing. Really appreciate that. Really resonates.
Great.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much. Marshall, do you have?
Yeah, I just
please.
wanted to say, because I think this is huge. This is a huge connector for me, in the sense of having the conversation with kids. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about here with the screening and things like that, the things that we're screening for, if not caught, kids then turn to drugs as a masking agent. It then becomes their relief, their escape. And so we're trying to solve a problem before there's a problem. You know, that feeling, as she said, there's something, there's a reason why they have these feelings, and they want those feelings to not just go. Sometimes they want them to go away, but most important, they want to know how do I deal with these feelings? What do I do with these feelings? And drugs has become the way for them to escape, and before long, they're addicted. And we have an even bigger issue. So the screening may seem invasive. Going to your schools, like whatever you think about it, it may seem invasive, but trust me, on the back end, it's not as bad as having a kid that's addicted to drugs.
Or has committed suicide.
Or, yeah, even worse.
So please join our movement. We have some information if you want to go to the table in the back. We also have some QR codes that you can click to kind of work with us, whether that's just guidance, expertise, your opinion on what we're doing. We're welcoming everyone. So thank you so much.